Madam Lau Kagik, Deputy Director General of Education Schools, Mr. Winston Hodge, Chairman Singapore School Sports Council, Mrs. Li Hui Feng, Chairman Singapore Primary School Sports Council, principals, teachers, parents, guests, boys and girls. Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here to address all of you gathered for the combined National School Games opening ceremony for both the Singapore School Sports Council and the Singapore Primary School Sports Council. Each year, more than 55,000 students compete in the NSG. The organization of over 200 championships for 29 sports is the largest and most extensive annual youth sports event in Singapore. It would not be possible without the hard work and commitment of our teachers, heads of departments, and principals. Together, you create for our students a valuable and vibrant sports platform for lifelong learning. We want our students to have a holistic education, so we have designed our school experiences for students to acquire a broad and deep foundation for a lifelong journey of learning. One of such experiences is sports. Sports develop character and values, cultivate positive attitudes, and strengthens people's skills. When our students train, when they interact with teammates or opponents, when they overcome obstacles in the pursuit of the goals that they have set, the lessons learned provide a strong inner core to draw on in the future. In my view, the most valuable trait that sports develop is grit. Grit is more than resilience. When a student has grit, he is passionate about a long-term goal and perseveres towards it. Researchers have studied high achievers. What contributes to their success are zeal and persistence of motive and effort. This makes intuitive sense. The grittier person is focused on winning in the long run. His passion and commitment provide the stamina to maintain his determination and motivation over long periods of tough training, failure, and adversity. At the recently completed Southeast Asian Games, there were many stories of grit, discipline, and eventual triumphs. Saida Aisha was Singapore's lone representative for rowing. She created history for Singapore when she clocked the winning time at the 2-kilometer race in the women's event. Her achievement did not come easy for her. She had to plow through thousands of hours of training, even choosing to put her career temporarily on hold to become Singapore's first rowing champion at the Games. Jenning Koo, a student athlete, displayed the same kind of grit for her sport, equestrian. She trained for 10 years to ride horses. 10 days prior to her O-levels, she broke her cheekbones at a training incident while preparing for the SEA Games. She needed surgery to insert 4 titanium plates and a wire mesh to reconstruct her face. The setbacks did not dampen Jenning's spirits. Instead, this young, gutsy lady sat for her O-levels despite the pain, went back to training within 3 weeks of her surgery, and proceeded to secure the first equestrian gold for Singapore since 1995. Her nerves of steel and remarkable ability to remain completely focused are truly admirable. Such strength of character and discipline must have been honed over countless hours in training and at competitions. Grit is transferable to other pursuits in life. Associate Professor Emeric Lim is a hand surgeon and chairman of the National University Hospital Medical Board. He's also Dean of the Health Leadership Center of the Ministry of Health. When he was a student, he played for his school in the inter-school tennis competition. According to Associate Professor Lim, it was tennis that taught him how to handle the mental pressure he now faces at work. In an interview with the Singapore Sports Council, he said, and I quote, "Sports give you a capital of knowledge and experience that you can draw on and apply in any life situation," unquote. Associate Professor Lim is not the only one. There are many successful people who share his view that sports made them who they are today. Each year, the Sportsmanship Award is given to athletes who best exemplify the attributes of character, integrity, and sportsmanship at the NSG. Amidst the nominations and recommendations of worthy awardees, I'm heartened to hear of a case, a badminton player from Dunman High School. During a nail-biting high-stakes doubles match at the National Inter-School Badminton Championships, Ngee Secondary smashed the shuttlecock out of play, and the umpire awarded the point to Dunman High. As everyone readied for the next rally, one of the players from Dunman High walked up to the umpire and explained that he had touched the shutter before it went out of play. An honorable act of admission that took everyone by surprise. The umpire reversed his decision and awarded the point to Ngee Secondary. The players' integrity and action so touched the student athletes and teachers of Ngee Secondary that they gave him a rousing round of applause. Ngee Secondary eventually won the match, and they wrote in to Dunman High to strongly request that the player be nominated for the Sportsmanship Award. And this player was Lee Tai-yu. Now, such displays of character, camaraderie, and mutual respect among players, supporters, and competing schools are what makes our National School Games meaningful. Students have opportunities to demonstrate character as players, supporters, and even as volunteers. Our students, spectators, and volunteers gain a sense of community and responsibility for their fellow Singaporeans as they support their teams, serve their peers, and contribute to the sports community at large. Next year, when the 28th SEA Games come to Singapore, we'll witness top athletes from Southeast Asia pit their skills against one another. All of us will have the opportunity to play host to athletes and friends from the region. Let us play our part to make it a success in the year Singapore turns 50. We want these learning opportunities through sports to become even more deeply embedded and deliberate in all our schools. This is why I announced at last year's MOE Work Plan Seminar that all secondary schools will each develop a Learning for Life program and an Applied Learning program by 2017 to complement their core curriculum. Sports and outdoor adventure learning, student leadership development, uniformed groups, performing and visual arts all lend themselves naturally to the Learning for Life program. This year, schools will begin working towards implementing Learning for Life program. They will provide students with real-life tasks to develop their character, social-emotional competencies, and values. Jurong Vale Secondary is one such school. It has designed a comprehensive Sports for Life program for their students. They will be providing extensive sports exposure to all their students through PE and sports programs, encouraging character building and empowerment through sports leadership, and stretching the talented sportsmen by providing the network of support structures made up of teachers, coaches, and partnerships with sports organizations. Jurong Vale Secondary has anchored their program on MOE's revised Physical Education and Sports Development Framework. The framework aims to achieve a nation of physically active Singaporeans by catering to their range of physical abilities and interests in sports participation. We want all our students to be exposed to a wide range of sports through PE and sports CCA, so as to help them develop all-round fitness, discover their strength, and find their interest. There is no rush to push them too fast, too young. Talent for most sports emerges during adolescence. We should provide broad-based exposure for our young ones and encourage them to develop a wide range of movements and fitness competencies before they find their calling in specific sports. When Dipna Lim Prasad made the cut for the Singapore Sports School, she was the slowest runner amongst the athletes of her batch. According to her, she was bouncing around events in her entire first year at the sports school and only managed to settle on the sprint events in her second year. Today, she has lowered the women's 100 meters hurdles national mark 4 times and is the holder of 3 national records. Similarly, today's fastest man in Singapore only started serious sprint training when he was 14 years old. Before that, he took part in PE, spent his recess in primary school kicking a plastic ball around, and dabbled in a bit of hockey training in secondary 1. Since then, Gary Yeo has raced alongside sprint giants like Usain Bolt and Johan Blake at the London Olympics. Gary and Dipner are top athletes whose talents were honed in their teens. They benefited from broad-based sports exposure in primary schools. Beyond competitions, we want all our students to continue being active all their lives. The stirring gymnastics performance from St. Margaret Secondary School we saw at the start of today's ceremony was also performed at the 4th Asian Gymnastrada held in Singapore last November. Altogether, 600 participants gathered to celebrate movement, acrobatics, and dance. There was no competition, and the participants ranged in ages from 4 to 80 years old, so no excuse for the rest of us here. Now, it is my hope that our students will learn to enjoy sports and be physically active adults right into their 80s, if not beyond. Therefore, we must pay attention to safety, starting from young. I was deeply saddened by the recent deaths of 2 of our students during PE lessons. I want to remind our students and parents to inform our teachers if the students are not feeling well or have just recovered from illnesses. Students should also look out for one another. Teachers should know their students well and keep themselves updated in how to organize safe and robust PE classes. Safety is everyone's responsibility. School sports provide a wealth of potential for deep learning for life. With careful planning, deliberate effort, strong partnership, and support from parents, coaches, and sports organizations, we can bring out the best in our students as we teach them to embrace the best of the human spirit. In closing, I want to thank all principals, heads of departments, teachers in charge, HQ officers, coaches, and officials for your dedication and service to school sports. And to our parents, many of you are here with us today. Thank you for your unwavering support for your children and our school. And to our students, I wish you all a safe and enriching NSG. Thank you.